Good morning. Welcome to our first breakfast for the 2010-2011 year. This is a big year for Grand Valley State, our 50th anniversary, and we have a great lineup of programs coming up again this year. I'm Kathleen Vogelsang. I'm president of the Seidman College of Business Alumni Association, and on behalf of everybody on the board, I'd like to welcome you. Before we introduce our guest speaker this morning, I want to remind you of our next breakfast, which is on November 9th. It's our Peter Secchia lecture series. Our speaker will be Rick Breon. He's the president and CEO of Spectrum Health, and he will be talking about health care reform and what it means for us in West Michigan. So certainly a very timely and important topic, and you won't want to miss that one. So I think we're ready to get started this morning. What are 5 traits of a leader? Well, according to the book, The Leadership Challenge, they are honest, forward-looking, competent, inspiring, and intelligent. Well, these 5 traits also describe Grand Valley State University's athletic director, Tim Selgo. Tim enters his 15th year as athletic director at Grand Valley State. During his many years at Grand Valley, he has put his own stamp of leadership on Laker athletics. A promoter of a well-rounded athletic department, Tim has been a key figure in the Lakers' rise to the top of Division II athletics. Grand Valley State won its 7th straight Directors' Cup in 2009-2010, staking a claim as the top all-around athletic department in the country. Grand Valley is the first Division II school to win the Directors' Cup 7 straight years. The prestigious award is presented annually to the best overall collegiate athletics program in the country. A well-respected leader in college athletics, Tim was appointed to the NCAA Division II Management Council to serve a term of 1 year in 2009-2010. A term on the NCAA Division II Management Council is the highest position in Division II athletics. Tim was also named the Division II Central Region AstroTurf Athletic Director of the Year in 2006-2007 and was honored as the Central Region Athletic Director of the Year in 2002-2003. Tim has been a key figure in the development of athletic facilities and programs at Grand Valley, including the Laker Turf Building, which opened in 2009, a new softball field in 2008, and the renovations at the Fieldhouse Arena. Tim was also instrumental in improvements in Lubber Stadium, including expanding seating capacity, adding executive suites, a new scoreboard, and lighting. During the past few years, the baseball and soccer fields have added press boxes, storage space, and concession areas. In addition, the Fieldhouse Locker Room project that enabled every varsity sport at Grand Valley State to have its own locker room was spearheaded by Tim. A native of Pettisville, Ohio, Tim graduated from the University of Toledo in 1980 with a bachelor's degree in physical education and a minor in mathematics. He earned his master's degree in education administration in 1982. While Tim was at the University of Toledo, he was a standout basketball player, earning 4 varsity letters, and was named Senior Scholar Athletic of the Year in 1980. Known as an outstanding shooter, Tim still holds the University of Toledo record for free throw percentages in a single season, converting 92.3% during the 78-79 season. He was inducted into the Toledo Athletic Hall of Fame in February of 2001. Prior to his arrival at Grand Valley, Tim was the Associate Athletic Director at the University of Toledo. Well, I could go on about Tim's accomplishments, but the play clock is about to run out, so I will go ahead and introduce Tim Selgo. Please join me in welcoming him.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Kathy. Can everybody hear me back there? Okay. I hope I got this wired up all right. Good. I want to get right into things. Many of you have jobs to get to. You students have 9 o'clock classes, and so I want to get right to things because I do want to leave some time at the end of this hour for questions. One of the great values sports brings to our society is that it causes discussion. And many people have questions about sports, and I'll be more than happy. I love talk sports. Answer any question you might have, whether it pertains to my discussion today or not. So get your questions ready, and we'll leave some time at the end and have a little question and answer period. You are in the world of business, or in the case of you students, you're studying to be in the business world. I am in the education business, as are my colleagues here from Grand Valley. Our job is to educate our students to shape their lives, their professions, and their societies. We take mostly 18 to 22-year-olds, teach them, help them get their degrees, and prepare them for the rest of their lives. You sell widgets or services or whatever it might be that your business or organization does. So it might not be exactly the same professions, yet we have a lot of things in common. As the director of athletics, we sell tickets. We market and brand our programs. I manage a budget and so on. A lot of things we do are the operations of a business. Our world in college athletics, very stressful, as is yours in business. Lots of pressure. My world, like yours, highly competitive. That's one of the things we do in our learning lab, intercollegiate athletics. We teach our kids to be competitive. That's one of the things that's really important, I believe, that we're teaching these young people. We teach them how to compete. 2 years ago on this stage, in the fall of 2008, Bill Seidman himself was here. Some of you might have been here to listen to Bill speak. And if you recall, we were in the midst of our economic meltdown in the fall of 2008. Two things Bill Seidman mentioned that day that jumped out at me. One, if we are to maintain our role as a leader in the economic world, we needed to have an educated workforce. Education was of primary importance. And of course, we're in the world of education. Totally agree with him there. And in fact, there's an article, I think, in the paper yesterday. We need to do a better job of that in our state. Society's changing. We need to have an educated workforce. The second thing he said, I about got to the edge of my seat. He said, we need to be competitive. We've got to be able to compete. And he was talking about it in terms of our tax structure and other things. But what stood out for me is we need to have a competitive spirit in this country. That's what made us. That'll continue to help us be leaders. And again, that's what we teach in the world of athletics. So that's been my world my whole life, as Kathy indicated. Been a coach, an administrator now for 22 years. I thought maybe for a time period my title today should be Business Lessons from a Jock. I didn't think that had quite enough dignity to it for this esteemed audience, so this is what I came up with, okay? When I started out in athletics, I started out as a coach. And I used to go to coaching clinics to learn, about things about coaching basketball, obviously. And early on in my career, I was at a clinic and a famous coach was speaking, and he said, my goal for you today is to learn one thing from what I'm about to say. He said, if you can learn one thing and take it back to your program and help your program be successful, I will consider that I've done my job. So my goal for you today is to learn one thing. If you can learn one thing today and take it back to your business, help you in your role in life, I will have done my job. And I can see some of you right now. I got up this early to only learn one thing. Hey, you got a free breakfast, didn't you? Better breakfast than most of you probably had every morning as well. You're sitting in a comfy chair in an auditorium. If you want to learn more than one thing, hey, go pay $150 to listen to Zig Ziglar or somebody like that, all right? Last year, the financial guy was in town, Ramsey. I always want to call him Jack Ramsey. Jack Ramsey's an NBA coach and analyst. I'm a jock, okay? Dave Ramsey, $149. They even tell you, don't spend more than you have. Really, okay? I kind of like the guy, though. Don't get me wrong. It's a good message. So anyway, well, again, my hopes are that you can take some of the thoughts and experiences that I've learned in the world of athletics and transfer those to your role in business. And for your students, as you head into the real world pretty soon, to take some things and you have to do that, to transfer what I'm saying, how does it fit your business and your role in your organization? That's critical. So again, the title of my talk is Fundamentals for Success in Leadership, in Business and in Life, and Why Technology Has Very Little to Do with It. So if you only remember one thing from today, remember this next part that I'm going to talk about, okay? Because I believe the key to success in business or in athletics or in anything you do are people. People make you successful. That old codger on the screen right there is the legendary Wayne Woodrow Hayes. Woody Hayes, the great coach from Ohio State, hated by people in the state of Michigan, okay? But that old cuss had one thing figured out really well. The title of his book right there, You Win with People. Even in his older age, later years, he was working his tail off at recruiting because he understood. If he's going to be good in college athletics, he better have talented student athletes. The other thing about Woody, If you go back and look at the coaching staffs that he had when he was at Ohio State, it's literally a who's who of college football coaching. Ara Parseghian, Bo Schembechler, Lou Holtz, Earl Bruce, Bill Mallory, on and on. I think Jim Tressel was a grad assistant for him at one time too. All right? He understood that. That's something you've got to understand as well, in my opinion. That you win with people. You're successful in business with people. I don't care what widgets you make. Yes, you got to have a good product. I get that. But people are going to make that successful. Attract the most talented people you can to your organization. Work with them and develop them so they can reach their full potential. You win with people. This is the legendary coach of the San Francisco 49ers, Bill Walsh, who won 3 Super Bowls. He's known as the genius, X and O guy. Perfected the West Coast offense. He's written several books. One of them I read, so that's jumped out the pages at me. He said when he first took the job of the 49ers, and they were terrible when he took them over, by the way. He drove into the parking lot. He said, I got out of my car, and I said to myself, okay, boy, the honeymoon's over. It's time to go to work. Make it a study of people. That's what he told himself. Make it a study of people. He didn't say make it a study of how many X's and O's we could, genius plays we could come up with. Make it a study of people. He drafted a guy by the name of Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice from Mississippi Valley State. Nobody else drafted, well, they even think about drafting Jerry Rice. He drafted him, I think, in the 2nd round. I'm not 100% sure about that. He went on to be the best receiver in the history of the sport. Okay? Why? Because Walsh knew something about Rice that didn't show up on film. He knew the guy was competitive. Jerry Rice's conditioning sessions are legendary, and his competitiveness is legendary in the NFL. Walsh found that out. I think Joe Montana was a 3rd-round draft choice. Some of you football experts might know that. I think he was. All right? He might not have the greatest arm. He just knew how to win. Okay? So they had X's and O's, and they had the philosophy and the system, but it's people that made him successful. This is from the book Lincoln on Leadership by Don Phillips. Some of you may have read it. If you haven't read it, I recommend it. Don Phillips wrote Lincoln on Leadership, okay? One of our best leaders of all time. Lincoln gained commitment and respect from his people because he was willing to take time out of his busy schedule to hear what his people had to say. It's no different when you're running a business. If you stay in touch with the people who comprise the foundation, you're more likely to gain an advantage that helps you to win the war against stiff competition that you're in. It's the people who are closest to the consumer and the product who know how to win. And almost always, they will want to offer their ideas. If you read that book, the guy knew his generals. He had to let a few go, got the right guys in place, and it's all about people, regardless of what your enterprise is. I also want to mention, before I go to my next discussion, Grand Valley is celebrating our 50th anniversary this year. Okay? 50 years is all that this school has been in existence. This school is one of the greatest success stories in the history of higher education. From 1960 now, look what we've become. We've become a great school because Bill Seidman and those guys that started this school, Don Lubbers and his staff, Ron Van Steelen, Glenn Niemeyer, Mark Murray, Tom Haas, and all the people that have worked for them. They've made this school what it is. And in the next 50 years, it'll be people that make this school even better. We got wonderful facilities, but people make this a great school. Okay? This guy right here, this is hard to see, I know. This is John Wooden. You young people don't even know who he is. In my opinion, it's my humble opinion, the greatest coach in my lifetime. Any sport, regardless of level, this was the best teacher and coach ever. He was a great coach at UCLA. He just passed away last June at the age of 99 years old. He won 10 national championships at 10 years or 12 years at UCLA. And when I was a kid, man, I wanted to play for UCLA. And one of the highlights of my career, about 4 years ago, I got to visit with John Wooden in his home in person. I'm telling you, it was the pinnacle of my career. And with me was Chuck Martin, our then head football coach, our wives, a good friend Denny Ellens arranged it. We spent 2-3 hours with Wooden in his home. 2-bedroom apartment, by the way. My opinion, greatest coach that ever lived. Very humble man. Lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. Okay? We had an unbelievable visit. And you talk about wisdom. At the age of then 95, he's quoting poetry. He's phenomenal. At the end of it all, he was gracious enough to sign some autographs for us. I had taken with me the book They Call Me Coach I think that was the first book Wooden wrote or was written about him, The Wizard of Westwood. They call me Coach. And again, I got that when I was in junior high in the early 70s. So I took it with me. He signed it. So Chuck Martin, our head football coach at the time, he, like many football coaches, he didn't read many books, okay? So he didn't have a book with him. But on Wooden's desk, he had 2 stacks of glossy photos, posters, if you will. This was one of them, and he had another one. And the other one had a picture of Wooden in his coat and tie and glasses and rolled-up program from his later years. And he started to sign. He says, hold it. He says, I'm going to sign this one for you, Chuck. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. And he slowly signed it for Chuck. And he says, here's why I signed this one for you, Chuck. This is the most successful coach in history of college basketball. He said, you see this diagram, and I know you can't see it real well right here. It's a chalkboard with a basketball court on it. And on that diagram is John Wooden's famous 2-2-1 zone press. Okay, now coaches put that up there. They usually put X's up there, right? And this one, he's got the names of the players up there. Gail Goodrich, Walt Hazard, 2 guys in the Hall of Fame. Keith Erickson, All-American for him. Okay? He says, the reason I wanted you to have this one, he says, you see that press there? We ran that press for a lot of years. It worked a lot better when I had those guys out there. You win with people. Take talented people and help them develop and grow, and that's how you'll be successful. So that's the title. So if you remember one thing, remember that. Technology is certainly important in our world today. Certainly a big, big part of our world. Technology is a tool to help you become successful. And we've seen just tremendous growth in technology in the last 15 years. It's been unbelievable. And all these devices and all these things, and you know, I'm not an old fuddy-duddy now. I've got a BlackBerry. I got my laptop with me everywhere I go, okay? But it's a tool to help us be successful. And for you young people, I sometimes worry about that you're so reliant on technology that you don't remember. People make even the most technological job you can think of. Even that person that's in front of a keyboard, every hour of every day, I would suggest to you that the fundamentals that I am going to go over today are vital if that person's going to be successful. It's more than just knowing about technology and using technology. This is a tool to be successful. You cannot point and click your way to success. You cannot. Okay? Remember that one. You cannot point and click your way to success. Okay, now I'm going to go over 4 fundamentals with you. Before I do that, I want to talk about this concept. Does anybody know what this concept, not the rock group now, okay? I see they're still alive, though, because they do the Dr. Pepper ads. That's pretty cool. These guys are from my day now, the 70s. These guys, KISS was popular. What does this stand for? Anybody know what teaching method? Geiger. Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple. The world is so complicated today. I am 100% convinced the way to get ahead today is simplify it. And technology has complicated things. Simplify it. It doesn't need to be complicated, okay? I had some great role models and mentors in my life. My father was primary. He was a teacher and a coach, and he was a really good one. He had a natural gift for teaching. And when I was a little kid and I'd tag along to practice all the time, I heard him more than once every year talk about, we got to simplify it. We got to keep it. He talked about, he's the first guy that introduced me to this. We got to simplify it. Because the important thing isn't not what you know up here. The important thing is what they learn. That's the important thing. Think about that with your employees at your workforce. The important thing is they know and understand what you're trying to accomplish. Not that you have some great business plan in your mind. They've got to be able to know and understand it and execute it. Keep it simple. My college coach was a guy by the name of Bob Nichols, winningest coach in the history of Mid-American Conference in men's basketball. You can go look it up. Most wins ever. Lasted 22 years as the head coach at the University of Toledo. Not many coaches in the Mid-American Conference last that long. They don't. They either get good and get out, or they go pretty good and they have a down year or two, everybody gets impatient, they get fired. All right? Winningest coach in the history of the Mid-American Conference. I learned so much from the guy, and he subscribed to this. Keep it simple. We didn't do things very complicated. John Wooden himself. UCLA didn't do anything tricky. They kept it simple. He got good talent, kept it simple, worked hard at it, and they were outstanding at the fundamentals. They were great at performing the fundamentals. So whatever the fundamentals are in your business, that's what I'm suggesting to you today you have to go to work on and stick to them. Definition of fundamental, Webster says, is of central importance. Basic. What is of central importance to your organization or your job, your career, your role in your business? What is of central, what is basic? And go to work on that. Hone in on that. That will help lead you to success. So I'm going to give you 4 fundamentals that over the course of my 30-some years of professional life that I've kind of developed. Again, I keep it simple, folks, so there's nothing magical here. But these are 4 fundamentals that I believe, and we could probably list 10 to 12 different things that are important for success, but I'm going to give you 4 today. Okay? First one, very simple, hard work and commitment. Nothing good comes easy. It's going to take a lot of hard work and a lot of commitment. Notice it doesn't say easy work. I worry a little bit about technology. It makes our lives easier. It's not going to be easy. To be successful in business, to be successful in anything you do, athletics included, it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of commitment. More than just try hard. It's more than just that. Commitment means more than that. Now, let me give you a couple examples. My college coach used to harp all the time on doing the little things well. Do the little things well. In basketball, it meant setting a good screen, boxing out and getting the rebound. Everybody's got to play defense, move your feet. The little things. What are the little things in your organization to help make you successful? A lot of little things add up to the big things. Do the little things well. Let me give you a couple of examples. Kathy mentioned we've had a good run of success here at Grand Valley. We've been very good in the sport of football. Last winter, right before Christmas time, our head coach, Chuck Martin, took a job with Brian Kelly at Notre Dame, defensive backs coach. Okay? So we're getting near the end of December, early January, crunch time in college football recruiting. It's crunch time. And you heard me earlier, you know I realize the importance of recruiting talented students and student athletes to our school. Okay? So it's crunch time. Not only that, starting at about January the 12th, my schedule was a killer. I had some obligation with the NCAA. I was gone a lot, and we had to move, and we had to move fast. And we have to do that a lot in our world when we lose somebody and we have to replace them. We have a high sense of urgency. Whether it's a coach, we got a bunch of student athletes that want to know who their leader is, whether it is pertaining to recruiting, or whether it's an athletic trainer, we got to have somebody, we got to have coverage. You know, we got to make sure those kids are okay. We've got to move, and we got to move fast. And like every public institution, we've got to go through all the policies and procedures you have to do that. But we just got to do it in hyper speed, okay? And our human resource officer of this school is outstanding. Scott Richardson's here, our director. And they work with us tremendous. They go above and beyond. That's what I'm talking about here, doing the little things well. Last year at that time, we lose our head coach, we got to go. Saturday, December the 26th, Sue Lindrup and our human resource officer was doing work for us, making sure everything got posted on the website right, and we could go and get started with the interviews. Saturday, December 26th. How many people working in your office Saturday, December 26th? Okay? Not many. All right? We needed it done. We needed to go. And that, you know, they knew that was important to us. High pressure time. Whatever you need to do, Tim, we'll get it done. That's the little things you need to do. Okay? You also got to understand something about athletics administration. Between Christmas and New Year's is a time that we get a chance to catch our breaths. In our world, we work nights and weekends, and we work just about every weekend from the end of August to the end of May. Okay? That's when athletic contests are at. They're on the weekends. Okay? We've got to be there. It's our job to be there. But that one time between Christmas and New Year's is a chance to get some rest. Well, we didn't have time. We had to go. Between Christmas and New Year's, we interviewed 5 candidates and got on with a selection of our new head coach, Matt Mitchell. But I want to recognize my staff. Can my staff that's here today stand up, please? Stand up. Doug, Lisa, Charlie, Sandra. Please stand. Give them recognition. Walter. These are the people that make us successful, okay? We got a whole bunch of coaches and other people back there working right now. They make us successful. That's how we're successful. It isn't magical plays. You know, D'Antonio drew up a good play. That fake field goal, that was great. That didn't make them successful. They were in a position to win because of other things they did. They're going to win further, not because of trick plays. Good to do once in a while, no, nothing wrong with that. But you got to have people make you successful. And these people came in on their week to get some rest. Chris Barbie from our alumni office, Chris is here today. Chris opened the alumni house so we could entertain the candidates every day in the holidays. Several football alums are here today. They helped us out, helped screen the candidates. And that's the little things, above and beyond. Okay, it's more than just try hard. Let me give you another example. One of the best stories I have of this. Turn back the clock now to 1999. 1999. Kathy mentioned we have won 7 Directors' Cups. That's the National All-Sports Trophy. We have also won 12 President's Cups. President's Cup is the conference's All-Sports Trophy. We've won 12 in a row. 1999, Grand Valley had not won the President's Cup in 20 years. It had been since 1979 that we'd won the President's Cup. Okay? I mean, you just turn back 10 or 11 years, we had a tough time winning conference championships. Everybody thinks it's so easy now. Well, it's easy. Just keep rolling out the ball and you guys are going to win. Yeah, it's not quite that easy. All right? In 1999, we hadn't won the President's Cup in 20 years. Came down the spring sports season. Our men's tennis team had to finish 3rd. If they finished 3rd, we clinched the President's Cup for the first time in 20 years. I'm over at the men's tennis GLIAC Championship in Midland, Michigan. Saturday afternoon. I'm the only guy there. And I'm the only guy in the building that knows this match has some meaning. You see, our team is competing against Michigan Tech for 3rd place. We both lost in the semifinals, and in tennis you play off 3rd versus 4 to see who finishes 3rd and who's 4th, right? In college tennis, there are 9 points. 3 for doubles, 6 for singles. The match is tied at 4 apiece, and the last guy on the court for us is a guy by the name of Chris Penzine. Chris Penzine goes about 5'7", $130. He's one of those guys, if you guys play tennis, he's not very strong, he doesn't overpower you, he runs everything down. Drives his opponents crazy, all right? He just hustles and chases everything down. He was playing his 2nd match of the day, his 2nd 3-set match. Now we're into the 3rd set of his match. They're the only ones still playing, okay? And I described it then, and I'll describe it to you today. He just gutted it out. He was dead tired. His clothes were a wet rag. And this little 130-pound guy gutted it out and beat that kid from Michigan Tech. And we clinched our first President's Cup in 20 years. And I remember, Ron, I don't know if you remember, I called Ron Van Steelen on my ride home. I said, I think we just won the President's Cup. I had that guy come back and speak to our student athletes this year. I wanted them to know what it meant by commitment. Okay, hard work and commitment. In a seemingly meaningless match. Nobody there. There are no trophies. There are no TV cameras. There's nothing riding on the line except that guy was going to give it his very, very best. My coach used to talk all the time about you never know what one play will lead to. Okay, think about the athletic events you watch. That seemingly unimportant play turned the tide, and momentum shifted, and our team wins. Okay? You never know what one, I will share with you in your business, you never know what one great effort will lead to. You never know what one great effort will lead to. You think those guys that sold soap door to door, they had to have their moments, tough times? You bet they did. They kept grinding and out. They kept grinding and out. Just like Chris Penn. That's what life is like for young people. All right? It isn't easy work. It's hard work. And sometimes it's a grind. That's why they call it work. Okay? You have to grind it out. And that Chris Penzine, he grinded one out for us, and you never know. We've won 12 in a row. Okay? But that changed things. You could see it in our coaching staff. They knew we could do it. And by golly, we won one. They aren't about to give it up. We've got that cup in our trophy case. It's been there 12 years, and their goal is to keep it there. All right? So you never know what one play will lead to. And Chris Penzine is a great example. By the way, he got his degree in chemistry, taught for 3 years, went to work for Perigo. This past summer, he got promoted to senior lab supervisor. Not a surprise to me. Okay? That's the kind of people you got to find for your business, your organization. The other thing I want to talk about with regards to commitment. In your world of business, they talk about change all the time. We got to change. Got to change. Changing world. Technology, changing things. We got to keep up with things. If we don't change, everything's going to pass us by. You got to hire a change artist. Change this, change that. Slow down a little bit on the change thing, okay? Yes, technology has changed a lot of things, and you got to keep up with it. I talked to a friend of mine in corporate world about half a year ago. He said, yeah, we restructured again and changed my territory, doing this now, that. I go, man, you guys do that a lot, don't you? He said, yeah, 3 times in the last 4 years, about 6 times in the last 8 years. It's getting old. See, some people change when things get tough. Here's one for you. Be persistent. Stick to the cause. If what you're doing is right and your fundamentals are right and you know they are for your organization, stick to the cause. Don't get so hung up on change. The world's changing. I get that. And technology has changed a lot. But there are fundamentals to your business that don't have anything to do with technology. Stay with them. Stick to them. Okay? Be persistent. That's commitment. That's Peyton Manning, quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts, regarded as the best quarterback in the NFL. They say the hours he spends watching film is legendary. In fact, I was in Indianapolis a couple weeks ago. They said the Colts practice center, they gave him his own office. He watches more film than any quarterback in the NFL. Okay, now, I don't know if any of you have ever watched film before. You know, Ty Halleck's here, a great player at Michigan State. Dan Hosford, All-American linebacker for us at Grand Valley. Those guys know. When these guys watch film, it isn't like you and I watching ESPN highlights, okay? It is boring. It is tedious. They watch the same play over and over and over and over again to find that little thing to make it better. And this guy's legendary for watching film over and over. Watch him play. I don't think he has quick feet. He kind of pitter-patters back there. He is tall, so he's got good vision. His arm's not that strong. He's just the best in the business. Why? He knows what's going on out there. He knows everything that opponent's going to do and what his guys can do, and that's why they're successful. Okay? So, commitment. And it's hard work. It's not easy work. And again, I worry about technology because we become too reliant on it. It makes things easy. And life is not easy on this earth. It takes hard work. In our world, you know, I mentioned earlier, you can't point and click your way to success. In the world of athletics, we have these things called fantasy leagues. How many of you belong to a fantasy league? All right, so yeah, look, half of you do. All right, I got news for you. It's not that easy in real life. All right, it looks easy from the stands. It looks easy from the TV booth. All those talking heads on TV think they got all the answers. I got 2 words to let you know it's not that easy. Matt Millen. All right? The guy's on TV again, talking about all he knows all about football, making all kinds of money. Man, that's a great country. All right? Took over the Lions. He didn't have a clue what he was doing. Not a clue. All right? We have a word for guys like that in our business. We call them losers. All right? It's not that easy in real life. You can't point and click your way to success. Second fundamental, be positive. Very simple. Be positive. I'm not talking about a Pollyannish, happy-go-lucky, rah-rah positive. I'm talking about, do you view the glass as half full or do you view it as half empty? Okay? My coach used to talk all the time about you only have to be that much better than the competition. You don't have to be that much better. In our society today, it's win a championship or else. It's we've got to make 10% on our money or we're a failure. No, you're not. How many of you take 6% right now, the next 30 years? Yeah. All right? And no offense, if any of you work for these kinds of companies, I know there are a couple companies in the area that have as one of their goals 20% annual growth. I'm not a big fan of that. 20% annual growth, I'm not sure that's realistic. To me, that seems a little Pollyannish. I mean, if Microsoft continues to grow at 20%, they're going to take over the world. Planet Microsoft, we'll call it. So if you only grow 14%, are you a failure? No. But what bothers me about goals that are maybe too high is that now you start cutting corners. Oh, man, we only made 14. We only grow 14%. We got to do this to grow. To get to 20. And you cut corners and do those kinds of things. So again, it's not a knock, because at certain points in time, businesses, yes, you probably can grow 20%. But I don't know that it's sustainable. So I think you have to have a glass half full look at things, but I honestly think that you have to understand that you only have to be this much better than the competition. Just keep getting that much better. and it'll result in positive things and success. My coach talked about overcoming adversity. You're going to face it every day of your lives, you young people. There's going to be hurdles to overcome every day of your life. You got to learn to deal with it. And the best way to deal with it is to have a positive attitude. You know, things aren't going to stay bad forever. They're going to get better. When I was on my recruiting visit, he sat me down, my college coach. Now, I'm a high school senior. He says, you're a good shooter. We like that. You see the court. You're a good passer. You got to get a little quicker. Had to get a lot quicker. Okay? But he said, what I don't know about you is how well you'll be able to handle adversity. This is on my recruiting visit. He's telling me. You think that didn't stick with me 2 years later when I broke my finger? I remember that. I finally got to start. First game I got to start, broke my finger, and I remember, okay, boy, here you go. Here's some adversity. Now, how are you going to handle it? And that stayed with me, and it's obviously stayed with me the rest of my life. There's so many things to be thankful for. There's so much negativity out there in the world today. Be positive. You want some negative stuff? Go read the news section of the newspaper. Okay? I don't read it anymore. I don't even. We got crime. I get that. There's going to be crime. I don't need to read about it. Okay? I do read the other parts of the newspaper. I just don't read the news section. There's a lot of negativity out there. Be positive. We have so much to be thankful for. I look at you students, think back 30 years when I was in college. You know, we didn't have all these cool technological things. We didn't have the internet. It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah, we didn't have the internet. Okay? We didn't have cell phones. Okay? How many of you older folks like me say to yourself, what did we do before we had cell phones? You know, we made it. We figured it out. Okay? And when I was in school, we didn't have ESPN. It was tragic, I'm telling you. Today you got ESPN, ESPN2, ESPNU, ESPN 360, ESPN Classic, ESPN Deportes, ESPN on the radio. All right? Now I'm going to tell you the coolest thing of all technological advances is satellite radio. How many have satellite radio? Now that's cool. You see, you got to understand, I am a Division II athletic director. Okay, everybody thinks we have this glamorous travel schedule. What we do is we get in a car. We travel by air and paddle all the time. We get in a car. We drive 3.5 hours to Finley to watch a football game and a volleyball game and turn around and drive 3.5 hours back. And to be able to listen to any game in the country on satellite radio, it's unbelievably awesome, let me tell you. I'm listening to Alabama, Arkansas on the way home last Saturday. That was cool. So there are great advances technologically, and we have a lot to be thankful for. This city, great city. I lived 20 years of my life in Toledo, Ohio. Same size Grand Rapids, same demographics. Toledo was great to me. I got both my degrees at the University of Toledo. We were back there last Friday night. Our football team stays there when we play Finley. Downtown, dead. Downtown Grand Rapids, art price. One city's got a can-do attitude. One has a can't-do attitude. I'm telling you, it's a negative atmosphere there. Newspaper, totally negative, everything. And, you know, that's the difference. To me, it's a difference in attitude. We have a lot to be thankful for in this city. And one of the things is we have a lot of leaders and people in this community that give back. And that leads to fundamental number 3. Be unselfish. You have a choice in life to be a giver or a taker. Be a giver. Think of it. DeVos Center, Sekia Hall, Cook DeVos Center for Health Sciences, Grand Valley. We got so many people. Van Andel Institute up the street. You know, it's tremendous. Tremendous. Be unselfish. In our world of athletics and in your world, we talk a lot about leadership. We probably don't talk enough about followership because, you see, almost all of us are in the middle. I am the director of athletics. We have 50 staff people on our staff. We have 500 student athletes that I have to lead. I also report to Jim Bachmeyer, the vice president, finance administration, president of the board of trustees. Almost all of us are in that boat in your organization. You have people above you and below you. So practice good followership. It means, in our world, we call that being a team player. Okay? It's teamwork that gets it done for the whole organization, being a team player. Here's one of my best examples of a team player. Dan Hosford knows this guy. He played with him for a few years. We had a guy by the name of Mike Hode in our football program in the early part of this decade, H-O-A-D. Mike Hode came from Farmington Hills Harrison High School, linebacker. If you saw him today, you're looking, this guy was a linebacker. You know, doesn't look big, strong, you know, just an average-looking size guy. His coach sold him to our staff. You want this kid. Said he's smart, he'll compete, he'll do whatever you ask. And sure enough, he was exactly that. His freshman year, he redshirted, which means we don't play him at all. A lot of football players do that in our program. Second year, he gets to play a little bit. He gets to play during mop-up time. Sophomore year, he's a linebacker. Still not quite as big and strong as fast as the other guys. Plays a little bit, mostly mop-up time. Now comes to his junior year. Our coaches love this kid. He does whatever they ask. And boy, they're thinking, man, this is the year Holder's going to get on the field. Yet we recruit a junior college transfer, pretty big, athletic, stronger guy, bigger, stronger, quicker, faster than Mike, and sure enough, Mike doesn't get to start again his junior year. Now, he gets to play a little bit more, but he's not starting. So one day I go out to practice. I had to see the coaches about something. Practice is over. And over here on the practice field, I see Mike Holder running sprints with another guy. And I went to Chuck Martin, who was then our defensive coordinator, and said, what did Holder do? You know, usually in football, when they're sprinting after practice, they did something bad, right? He goes, nothing. He does that every day. He usually takes somebody with him. He runs sprints every day after practice to make sure he's in top shape. Doesn't start, okay? And takes somebody with him. Talk about a good teammate. Come to a senior year, same thing. Boy, the love would be great. This is 2003 now. Wish we could get this guy in the field. Just not good enough to start. These other guys are better. But gets to play a little bit more. In crunch time, late in game situation, Holder gets to play. Fast forward, national championship game 2003. It's 10-3. Remember I told you you only have to get a little bit better? We've won 4 national championships here at Grand Valley. Every game has come down to the last drive of the game. Every game has. Okay? Seems like we're that much better than everybody in Division II. 4 national championships. It came down to the last drive of the game, all 4 games. North Dakota's got the ball on our 25, last play of the game. Clock's going to run out. They go back to pass. They throw it to the goal line. Mike Holder's there. He intercepts the pass, goes down. Everybody goes crazy. We win a national championship. Next day on ESPN, top 10 highlights, Mike Holder. Never started for us, okay? After the game, I asked him, tell us about that play. He said, well, in all our film study, we knew North Dakota got in that situation. They like to go to the dig route. Now, none of us, Ty knows what a dig route is. None of the rest of us know what a dig route is, okay? The receiver's going to do something. Dig, I don't know, all right? Doesn't matter that we know. Mike Holder knew because he watched film and studied it, and he was ready when his time came. And he said, I just sat and waited on it. And sure enough, we won a national championship because of that guy that never got to start. Talk about unselfish. Talk about committed. Talk about keeping a positive attitude. That guy, I'll always remember that play. The other thing that is important here, and by the way, Mike's in pharmaceutical sales right now, and I know he's doing well in the business world. This is a key concept I want to touch on in a minute. I think it's the most underrated characteristic that you need to look for in the people you're hiring. I'm certain it is in hiring coaches. The most underrated characteristic is to find maturity. Maturity, someone that has the maturity to be a team player. Okay? Very important. We go back to my Matt Millen example. I hate to keep killing Millen, but he gives me a lot of good material. Okay? His first visit to Grand Rapids, some of you might have been there. First year as GM, he'd hired Marty Mortenweg as his head coach. They came over to speak. I think the Econ Club and Rotary did a joint thing, and they spoke. And they rode over on motorcycles. All right? Now, don't get offended, any of you that drive a motorcycle. I'm not, discounting riding a motorcycle. But I just couldn't picture Don Shula or Tom Landry or Bill Belichick driving over on motorcycles to their first speech to an important segment of their constituency. All right? Furthermore, wouldn't you think that in your first year on the job, you'd want to sit in a car with your head coach and spend 2.5 hours here and 2.5 hours back talking about what are we going to do to get this organization winning again? Okay? It's maturity. And he thought it was cute. And he made light of it and thought it was really cute and neat. And I remember go back, and I told some other people, I don't know about this guy. Okay? So think about that as you're in the hiring process and the people you have working for you. I think it's absolutely key, maturity. Be a team player. Let me move on here so we leave time for questions. Okay, last fundamental, have balance in your life. There are a lot of things important in life. Your work life is important. Your family life is important. Your health is important. You think Mark D'Antonio's not thinking a little bit more about that right now? You bet he is. Okay, your spiritual life, very important. And you must have fun in life. That's important. Have some recreation. I bowl every Wednesday night in the league. All my staff make fun of me all the time, and I'm a bowler, right? Yeah. Well, any of you ever want to come bowl with me, come on. I'll take you bowling. We'll have a lot of fun. You bring your checkbook with you. We'll have a lot of fun together, okay? But it's my recreation. I get away from it all. It fires up my competitive juices a little bit, and it's a lot of fun. You got to have that in life. You got to keep a balance in life, okay? No question about it. John Wooden, when I was visiting in his home, he said the two most important words in the English language, love and balance. He talked about balance all the time. With his teams, everything they did on the court, about life, he talked about balance. It's so important. You must have balance in your life. You think Tiger Woods wishes he had a little more balance in his life right now? You bet he does. Okay, that guy, he might be the best competitor in my lifetime. I mean, if he out there in a competitive situation, we call guys like that a killer, man. He goes after it. And those other guys go running for cover when Tiger's making a charge. All right? But he didn't have balance in his life. No. Look where he is today. He looks miserable out there today. I don't know if you guys watch golf. To me, he looks miserable. Every smile is forced, and he didn't have balance in his life. I hope he gets it together, because the guy's tremendous, tremendous competitor. And I hope he does get it together. I never did figure out that sex rehab thing, though. What chemical substance causes that? I don't get it. So for you young people, if you want to start a business, start a rehab anything, all right? People will pay you big dollars for that. How about BlackBerry addiction? That's one of them, okay? Facebook addiction would probably be better for you guys, yeah. Social media. I'm not quite there yet. I dabble in it a little bit, but not quite. So I'm not totally an old fuddy-duddy. But have balance in your life. It's critical. I think it's critical to success. Okay? That's what we call it when people get out of balance. To have some balance in your life. In our world, we call that lack of discipline. That's what we call it. It's simple. All right? Life's not that complicated. Have some discipline in your life. Now, if your life does get out of balance, make sure it gets out of balance for the good things. Here's a lady whose life was out of balance. All she did was help the poor and destitute and sick her entire life, her adult life. All right? You talk about commitment. That takes commitment. You talk about somebody being positive in light of her circumstances and where she had to do her work, you better have a positive attitude and be unselfish. She was a giver, not a taker. So have balance in your life. So keep it simple. In your world, in my world, everybody wants to make things complicated. It's not that complicated. Keep it simple. It takes hard work and commitment. Be positive, be unselfish, and have balance in your life. With that, we've got about 10 minutes. Let's open it up for questions. Any questions you might have? I'll even answer questions about the Lions if you'd like. Yeah, go ahead. Good question. How long do you give people? And, you know, it varies from situation to situation. Now, Lions, I mean, they're the losingest organization in the history of professional sports. So they need change, okay? I go back to my discussion of change. You know, they obviously need some change. How long do you give them? All right, in my world, let me just share in my world. Okay, let's use Brian Kelly as an example. He's at Notre Dame. All right, they got a long ways to go. Notre Dame is not very good. They don't have good enough talent. For 20-some years, they've been mediocre. Sorry, if any of you Irish fans out there. Okay, I'm an Irish fan now. I want those guys to do well. But it's going to take some time. They just don't have the right talent. They got to get some things done there. They got to move into this century in many ways. Okay, so that's going to take some time. All right, his first recruiting class last year was so-so. Okay, different than ours. That's why we had to move fast, and we kept our staff intact. We think we had a really good recruiting year last year. And that doesn't happen very often in transitions. In the first year is always a tough one. So it's going to take him 4 or 5 years. I spoke at Rotary last year, and I told all the Michigan State and Michigan fans, relax. Your program's going to be better next year. Those guys know what they're doing. Okay, D'Antonio's really good. Rodriguez knows what he's doing, folks. You don't win as many games as he has over the years and not know whether he's the right fit or not. That's debatable, but he knows what he's doing coaching football. Give him time. They had the best offense in the league last year. Do you know that? They had 2 rookie quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins was a rookie last year. He's learned, right? They're going to get better. Next year, they're going to be better yet. Robinson and Cousins are both going to be 3-year guys. They're going to be able to do more things. So, it takes that time. It varies from situation to situation. In our case, when we got here in '96, it took us 4 years to win the President's Cup. It took us till 2003, 2004 to win the Director's Cup, the all-sports trophy for the country. We had to go through some things to get there. Our football program, it didn't happen overnight. We've been good in football for a long time at Grand Valley, but we haven't won a playoff game until 2001. Grand Valley was 0 for the history of its school in winning NCAA playoff games until the year 2001. All right, now we've won a whole bunch since. Everybody thinks it's happened overnight. It's great. No. We had to go play some tough teams. We played UC Davis 4 times. We played South Dakota State a couple times. We found out we had to get better defensively. I go back to Brian Kelly's situation. They got to get better defensively. They've got to, if they want to win big in the BCS level. And so that takes time. And you got to adjust your recruiting. You're not to make wholesale changes. Just adjust your recruiting. Focus more on defensive guys and get better defensively. And so it takes time. And we had to find that out in football, and we tested ourselves against some of the best, and all of a sudden we beat UC Davis. And again, the light bulb, you can see the light bulb going, we can beat these teams. We can do it. And we got the finals, and we lost in 2001. And then guys like Dan Hosford here led us to the championship in 2002, our first national championship 2002. Now our people in our department, they know we can do it. They know we can compete nationally. But that took time. That didn't happen overnight. And I see the same things with you in your business. But where you start is with the fundamentals. Start with the people. Look at the people. Are you got the right people in place? You need to get better people? How are you going to do that? Figure out. Go talk to some of these kids. We got a whole bunch of talented people at this school. A lot of talented kids, ready to do great things. It's a wealth of talent here. Next question. Yes, sir.
How do you know, with the hard work and commitment, and then have balance in your life, how do you know when you've gone too far one way or the other?
Good question. How do you know when you've gone too far? I've often thought about that, and I think the good Lord gave me a God-given barometer in me somehow that I kind of know when enough is enough. I think everybody, and you got to think about this about your employees, everybody has a different level of work capacity, okay? Some people can really go, and some cannot. Tim Knott, our associate AD for media relations, he can go on 4 hours of sleep a night. I can't. I'm sorry. I got to have 7 or 8 or I'm not functioning well. Different people have different ways. And so different people have different levels of work capacity. And you've got to maybe adjust yourself to that if you're the leader of that group. Some can really go. You can push them a little bit more. Some, you got to learn to back off a little bit if it's getting to be too much on them. And for you yourself, you just got to, once in a while, stop, take stock of things, say, okay, if you have children, you all have had children, you know what I'm talking about. There's a problem there. Your kid they need your time. Go back to that thing about Lincoln. All right? He gave his people time. He gave them his time. That's the most important thing you can do sometimes. Give them your time. And you've just got to be alert and aware of what's going on. And I would suggest we all know the difference between the good things in life and the bad things. Well, at some point in time, Tiger had to take stock. And no, going to Vegas all the time, this ain't good. All right? So, you make your own bed, you lie in it. But so I think sometimes it's an internal barometer you have that you can tell. When you're wiped out and you're trying to push, take some rest. Get some rest. Mark D'Antonio got a pretty live wake-up call with respect to balance. No question about it. Those football coaches, let me tell you something, they work hard, man. Talk about hard work, they got that down. All right? Their hours would kill the average man. I mean, they work. They work hard. They got to learn to back off. I try to tell our coaches all the time, find something else. Find something to do. Go for a walk, whatever. Anything, just to get some balance in your life. Your health's important. Not an easy answer, but as you grow and learn, you'll know. Other questions? Yes, sir.
You've had a lot of success, not just in football, but in a lot of your sports programs at Grand Valley. The question I have is, as it pertains to junior college transfers coming in, when you recruit now, is that vastly different from when your coaches started recruiting early in your career at Grand Valley?
Yep.
And how do you keep the incoming freshmen and sophomores happy that you're developing when you have that?
Okay, very good question. Several things to answer there. First of all, we do believe in a broad-based program, as Kathy in her introduction said. We want to be good in all of our sports. We have 20 varsity sports. Those kids all work hard. Football gets the most attention, let's face it, okay? Most bodies, most number of people, most people come to the games, most media attention, so it gets all the attention. But our staff, we want to be good in all of them. We feel it's our job to help get those kids ready for the rest of their life. That means all of them. It's our job to help all of them become successful. So when our women's tennis team yesterday beat Northwood, Northwood's been a power women's tennis in our league. They won 70 matches in a row. We beat them 5-4. That's big for us. That's really big. All right? Our women's tennis team's getting better and better and better. And they got Ferris this Friday at home. So we're going to be there. We're going to be there. Sunday, women's soccer plays at noon. Women's golf has their tournament. We don't have many home matches in golf. Men's golf was at home last weekend, women's golf this weekend. That's about the only time they play home invitationals. You got to be there. You know, you want to be good in those sports, you got to be there. Everybody asks, do you have to be there all the time? Well, no, you don't have to. If you want to be mediocre. You know, Matt Millen lived in Pittsburgh while he was the GM of the Detroit Lions. What kind of commitment is that? How are you going to go tell a really good free agent that you're trying to recruit to come to the play for the Lions? How you like living in Detroit? Well, I don't live there. I live in Pittsburgh. But it's okay. It's a nice place. What kind of commitment is that? Again, I hate to crush the guy, but, you know, he just hands me material for this stuff, okay? So, you know, we want to be good in everything. Going back to recruiting, junior college transfers, okay? We recruit transfers, and we tell our kids, we're going to recruit transfers. That's a talent pool for us. But going back to 1996, you know, I think you've got to look to all avenues to find good talent. Don't limit yourself. Some people say there's been a program or two within a 150-mile radius of us, and they're never going to recruit a transfer. That's not us. We're too good for that. Yeah, well, you're pretty mediocre right now. You know, you better think about it. All right? There's a talent pool out there. There's nothing wrong with it. People make the wrong decisions. Kids make the wrong decisions. They're not a right fit for whatever school they're at. We've had people transfer from Grand Valley. We're not the right fit. That's okay. We're not right for everybody. We're not perfect. So we're going to recruit transfers. We tell our kids that. That's competition. All right? My dad told me I was a freshman in college. Freshman year, I got to play a little bit. Now, my next year, I'm going to be a sophomore. He goes, if you want to play, you better go to work because they're going to recruit players behind you. I learned it then when I was 19 years old. Yep, you know what? They're going to. You're in business, they're going to keep trying to recruit people and have people come into your organization that can lead your business to success. That's competition. That's a part of it. And we tell our kids that. And I will tell you this, when it comes to recruiting transfers, it does have to be the right fit, though. We've had transfers come to us in football from the BCS level teams. They're not good enough to play for us. They can't get on the field for us. They're not good enough. And they come from big-time SEC, Big Ten programs. All right? It's got to be the right fit, and it's got to work. It is easier today because we have had success. We have a tradition of success. And so, yes, it does help us in that recruiting process. But it wasn't that way 15 years ago. We were scratching and clawing. You got to dig. You know, now we got their attention. Again, our job today to some respects, for example, with transfers, is make sure they're the right fit. And if they're not, and we passed on one a year ago, a really good quarterback from a Big Ten school that we passed on, because you know what? Academically, the kid didn't care. If he didn't care there, he ain't going to care when our coaches are yelling at him because he's not getting us in the right play. So you got to make those judgments. You got to look at everything. One last question. Yes, sir.
If the funds are available, what kind of adjustments, improvements would you make to the football season?
Great question. Ask President Haas that question next time you see him, okay? If we have been working on it, we do have to increase the size of our stadium. Our average attendance has been over 11,000 a game. Last 5 years, we seat 8,500, and if you've been to one of our games, too many students have to stand at our games, too many people have stands. We got a lot of improvements to make. The first thing we're looking to do is take the track and move it to the south end of campus, to move our track out of our stadium so we can lower our field and add seats down around the bowl, make it a horseshoe with seating closer to the field. In other words, go down. Instead of going up, we want to go down and put artificial turf out there. Okay, that's another example for you, doing the little things well. Thanks for bringing that up. We tarp our football field. It's natural grass right now. Okay, we tarp it whenever we have rain or the threat of rain. Everybody in our league thinks, oh, Grand Valley, you got all the money. You get to tarp your football field. You know what our tarps are? We get 2 old baseball tarps. All right, they got holes in them all over the place. On Friday afternoon after team meetings, the redshirt freshmen go on, and they pull the tarps on. All right? On Saturday before the game, the baseball team comes out, and they roll them up for it. We don't have a grounds crew. That's how we do it. That's a little thing. Why do we do that? We need a dry track. We want our team playing on a dry field because our advantage is speed. We've got more speed than most. It's a little thing. If that becomes a mud bath out there, that's not to our advantage. That could be problematic. We could get upset in a game we shouldn't get upset in if that's the situation. So back to your question. All right, so we want to lower the field. We would like to bring seating, add seating around the southeast, southwest ends to enclose it, if you will, into a horseshoe. We need more seating for our students, so we want to put more seating in there where there are gaps now, fill that in with seating. We need more restrooms. We need more concessions. You know, we have too many porta potties out there. We need a visiting team locker room at our stadium. We don't have that right now. The visiting team just meets in a room in our building. We bus them back and forth from our field house where they shower. That's not real classy for a top Division II program. We need a visiting team locker room there. We need the same thing for our officials. We shuttle our officials back and forth as well. They should be able to dress and shower right there at your stadium. I'd love to put up a new press box with some sky boxes. We believe we have the ability to do a lot of sky boxes. We need a new press box. It's too small. We're televising all of our games. We're webcasting them. We're putting them on Comcast, and we need to do that as well and give our president a little bit better facility in which he can entertain people at our games as well. So, anybody got 20 million? Come see me after we're done here. Okay, I think it's a little after 9 o'clock. With that, I'm going to turn the podium back over to Dean Williams. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here today.
Great job.